Okay, so what we have here is a 2019 Ford Explorer. This is my own personal vehicle. I have tried to maintain most of the time doing the work myself. This was something that my daddy taught me back roughly 30 years ago. When I got my first vehicle, which was a 1994 GMC Sonoma, he took me out and he said, we're gonna change the oil. I thought that meant we were gonna do it together and maybe he was gonna do it for me. No, that meant he was gonna show me how to do it. And that was probably one of the best things that he taught me to do. When you're doing maintenance on your vehicle, one of the key things you need to know is the year, the make, the model, and the engine size. And here's a tip on where you can find that information. Right here is a sticker that's under the hood. It actually shows what size engine is in it and the year of your vehicle. So if you don't know that information, this is one place you can look. Another cheat sheet on finding information about your vehicle is right down here. If you'll open up your door, in the door jamb, there's a sticker. And on that sticker is information about your vehicle. Not only does it say the date in which it was manufactured, it also has the tire size, your rim size, your towing capacity, your VIN number, your paint code, and something we're going to use today, which is your tire pressure, your PSI. One important thing you need to do is always keep your terminals clean, your battery terminals. We have found out the hard way, if these get too corroded, it can actually inhibit your vehicle from cranking, and you may not even have a dead battery. So take the time, keep your terminals clean. You can buy these at AutoZone or Walmart. They're just little battery terminal cleaners. I'm going to take the time and go ahead and unhook these and clean them off and spray some protectant on them. Always be careful when you're working on batteries, especially when you're dealing with the terminals. Don't allow anything like a screwdriver or a wrench to touch the two terminals together at the same time. You can get a little bit of a electrocution. You may get a hairstyle that you didn't want. Lightning may strike when it's not thundering. You might say some choice words that you didn't plan for. You might meet the angels at the pearly gate before you're ready. This is a battery corrosive preventative. I'm going to spray a little bit of that on it. One thing I'm really needing is windshield washer fluid. Only one side is spraying, and it just sprays just a little bit. In addition to the wiper fluid, I also need new wiper blades. So we're gonna do that right now. Okay, so right here is where you're gonna find where to put your washer fluid. Let me go grab that out of the back. Okay, I went ahead and grabbed a funnel because I tend to make messes. This thing was thirsty. Wow, this thing held a whole gallon. Okay, so next we're going to change the air filter. You see this big pipe coming from your engine? This is actually an air intake. There should be a couple clamps down here on your vehicle. There's easy release. And you might have to take that off. And it looks like we're going to, so let me grab a screwdriver. Let me go grab the new one. The reason I suggest doing a lot of this yourself, my mother-in-law went to go get her air filter changed, and they wanted an extra $20 on top of the cost of the air filter just to put it in. And this isn't even that difficult. Now I see down in here is some trash. So I'm gonna get the vacuum cleaner and clean that out before I put this air filter in. Okay, so we got our new air filter. Remember, put it face down. Make sure it sits in there straight. There's little tips on here that we've got to line up. There we go. We can go ahead and set this down. Fasten our clips back. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go get the oil filter wrench for my oil filter. The last oil filter I had put on was actually done at the dealership. So hopefully it's the same size as my Bumble One filter. So we're gonna go find an oil filter wrench for this one. Okay, so we've got a couple of different oil filter wrenches in here. Of course, this one's too large. This one, this filter kind of slides around. I'm going to go ahead and take this. It might work on the Motorcraft oil filter that's in there. But I'm going to take this one. It's kind of a generic one. It tightens up. And it seems like I used this one the last time I changed the oil because of the position the oil filter was in. So let's grab that. Don't judge. My husband contributes to this mess also. I can't recall what size the nut is for the oil drain plug, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab the whole thing. All right, people, it's time to go under. Okay, so I got my oil drain container. I'm going to be sure and unscrew this. Get it ready to have the oil drain in that. It's good to have one with a screen on it like this because if you drop your oil plug, it'll catch in the screen and not go down in the oil. So we're going to slide this under. So I had to go back to the shop and get the larger sockets. The one I got was the smaller one, so we needed the larger one for this activity. I think it's going to be a metric size from what I recall. Seems like it was around a 15. All right, we're gonna test this one out. See if I was right. Is this a 15? Ah! I was right. It is a 15. All right, so now we need a ratchet to go on this. Be sure when you're taking out the drain plug, do not strip the nut. I don't have a lot of good leverage here, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it on there snug, and I'm gonna tap this handle with a hammer. All right, it's starting to loosen up. So I'm gonna move these out of the way. I'm kind of a messy person. So I'm gonna grab a piece of cardboard. When you undo this nut, it's probably gonna come out in an arch. So you want to be sure and move your container over to where it will accommodate the arch. But also it's going to drip straight down, so it can be kind of messy. So I went ahead and put a piece of cardboard in under the drain container, the oil container, so we don't make a big mess. So here we go. Get it almost threaded off. Well, here it comes, a dripping. Yeah. There you go. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the plug right there. So it's dripping and I'm accommodating the arch. So we're gonna let that drain out. Okay, while that last little bit is draining out, I'm gonna grab the oil plug. I'm gonna inspect the nut to make sure it's in good shape. Looks good. Always make sure it's got the little washer on there. This one is like a rubber washer. Go ahead and take a minute and clean it. When you put it back on, you want to make sure you get a good seal. You don't want any dirt or grime in between, because it can cause it to not seal up really nice. So we're letting that go ahead and drain out. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe this off. We're just down to drip, so we're pretty good. So let's go ahead and plug this. One thing you don't want to do this is when this is hot, because this oil can really burn you. These guys that work at these oil change places that change their oil after people's driven their car for a long time, whew, kudos to them. Alright, so once you get it hand tightened, everything's cleaned off, you made sure that rubber washer's on there. I'm gonna get a ratchet back over here. Make sure I'm in the righty-tighty position. Once I get it as snug as I can with my hands, I'm gonna give it a little tap. Just because I'm in a bad leverage position. Alright, that's good and snug. Everything's clean. The reason you want to keep it clean is, if you're ever wondering if your oil drain plug is leaking, if you've got it nice and clean when you put it on, and you look under here and you see oil, you know that there's something bad wrong with the seal. So, now let's move on to the filter. Okay, so here's the filter. You want to put your drain pan down below, because you will get some oil come out from the filter. I'm going to see if this was hand tightened. Sometimes when these are hot or warm, you can actually loosen them with your hand. And this one, I see it moving. So I am going to loosen that up. The reason I like changing the oil on this vehicle, this oil filter is very easy to get to. All right, we're loosening it. It's already starting to drip. This is another can be messy job. Whoa. See, that filter was full of oil. Yeah. Once you have your filter off, inspect where it seals up. Make sure it's nice and clean. Make sure the seal is on the oil filter that you took off, because if that seal is not on the oil filter, it's most likely still up on where it attaches. So that is nice and clean. Okay, so here's my new oil filter. It is a Mobile 1. You want to inspect and make sure it still has the seal on here. My daddy taught me a tip to make it seal nice. Take a little finger dab of your oil and rub it on here. That way it gives a good seal. Make sure it's threading on straight. You don't want to put this on crooked or strip your threads. See how it's threading on nicely, it just spins freely. I'm gonna try and hand tighten this one. You don't want to over tighten it because you can make that seal, make that little rubber gasket swell out. I'm just gonna give it a nice turn with my dry rag on there. There we go. We'll feel the seal, feels nice. It's not swelling out. There we go. All right. Wipe everything down, make sure it's nice and clean. That way you can always check for drips. If you see drips, you know something's leaking. All right, let's go back up top. All right, let's go get the oil. Here is the cap for the oil filter. Most of your caps will tell you what kind of oil to put in it, and so mine says 5W20. That's what I got. This is actually a Mobil 1 synthetic, full synthetic 5W20. That's my oil of choice. Okay, so we're ready to put the oil in. I went and got a little bit larger funnel, and I put this in there. My vehicle calls for 6 quarts of oil. This is not a true gallon. This is actually 5 quarts. So I have this 5-quart container, and then I have another container that I use for my extra quart that I'll be bringing out here in just a minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and add all of this to my vehicle. All right, this is all emptied out. Don't throw this away just yet. I'm going to show you what to do with this at the end. I still need 1 more quart. This is actually one that I've used as my extra quart. If you'll look here on the side, when it's sitting level, you can tell how much oil is in it. It comes to about right there. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 quarts. Empty a little bit at a time. You don't want to put too much in your vehicle and overfill your oil. All right, we'll call it that. Okay, so once this is complete, get it all out of your funnel. Put your oil cap back on. It's good and sealed. It's not going to come off. Now you want to check your dipstick. There we go. These were getting they were skipping around. You can see that they were starting to break down some, so that's kind of why I wanted to change them. These have a little clip at the back. You just squeeze it. You squeeze it and twist it, and it comes off. Also, be very careful and do not let this slam down and hit your windshield or accidentally turn these on with no wipers on. You can scratch your windshield, and also if this slams down hard, it can crack your windshield. So I got one off. Let's do the other one. One on the passenger side is 22 inches. Take out my clips. One tip is you just don't want to go in and grab a 26 and a 22 inch wiper blade. Some of these wiper blades come with different little clips on them, and you want to make sure the clips are made for your vehicle, because all wiper blades will not fit on your vehicle. All right, so this one, it has a little cover. So I'm gonna slide that off. Okay, so this is adapter A. Goes into that little divot. Slide up. There we go. It's on there good. All right, let's go to the other side. Okay, so this is the 26 inch. This is a protected. Remove that. Take the old clip off. Well, the new old clip. Toss that. Get clip letter A. You think how it goes on? Okay, so, all right, so it goes like this. Goes under that, pushes down, click. And now, lift this up gently. There's a little divot, goes in. And I felt another click. Let it down gently. Nice. One more thing I got to do is check the pressure of my tires. The little display is showing that my tire pressure has dropped to 29 psi. A lot of times this happens during cooler weather, and it is starting to get cooler. So what pressure do you need to set your tires at? That's where the sticker on the little cheat sheet that I was showing you earlier says that my pressure needs to be 35 psi. So that's what we're going to put in now. This is the kind of gauge I like to use. It's real simple. Okay, we're right at 35, so we'll go with that. Okay, so remember I said not to get rid of your old oil container, and here's why. Take your old oil container, put your funnel in it, take your old oil in your container, make sure the lid's on it. You can tell from experience that I've made a lot of messes in the past, so. All right, now that that's sealed up, you want to turn it up right. Mine comes with a cap that you can take off. So I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to pour it in my new old container. Here we go. Okay, so once all your old oil is in there, I can see I drained about 5 quarts in here. Where's the other quart? A lot of it's still in my oil filter. I didn't drain my oil filter completely out, the old one that I took off, so it still has a little bit in there. I'd say my vehicle is burning about a half a quart of oil between oil changes, which is not terrible. But this is something you need to keep check on periodically. A good time to check your oil is when you're putting gas in your vehicle. Just pop your hood and check it. I check it about every, I don't know, third fill up. The reason I put it back in the container is I take it to my local transfer station and recycle my oil, which is always an environmental thing to do instead of just dumping it out or throwing it in the trash. So we're gonna do that. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of changing my oil in my 2019 Ford Explorer. I do hope you continue to watch and like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Also, if you want to see this Southern gal do more DIY activities, please continue watching this channel. Thanks, and see you next time. Now to relax and enjoy that popsicle.